One thing I wish I saw more of in the sim racing community was educational content teaching people how to do things. I see a lot of boutique videos of people passing like 30 cars, but nobody asked, why did you start P31 in order to pass all those cars? And so I want to try to share more stuff about how racing works to help more people. So I'm going to start with some ideas off my phone, and then I'll evolve those ideas into what I have on my YouTube channel, and they'll look nicer, and we'll go from there. But one thing I don't see a lot of is people talking about the anatomy of a pass and how passing works. I think it's actually because it's a really complex topic that requires a lot of prerequisite skills in order to be able to describe effectively. You first need to be able to have the car control skills to be able to drive your car safely. You also need to be able to have the car control skills to be able to proactively drive your car and make it rotate on demand, adjust to different lines, brake earlier when offline, a lot of the adaptation that's required. And a lot of drivers don't take the time to practice those skills to know how to do it. And you also need to be able to anticipate what your opponent is doing, mostly through information gathering. You need to follow them for a number of laps to be able to see patterns in their behavior. And you need to be able to not influence those patterns by unnecessarily attacking them so that they don't adjust and then you have to start over again. On my blog, I've got this concept called SPT for overtaking. It's speed, position, and timing. You need to know how fast you're going compared to your opponent. You need to know where you are on the racetrack. You need to know if they're on the racing line or if you're on the racing line, how to adjust accordingly. And you need to know the timing of when they're turning versus when you're turning. Most full sins that I see are people who just throw their car in at the end of a straightaway, hopefully that they can beat the car ahead before they turn, attack them in their blind spot when they can't see, and then kind of hope it works out. Those never work because the driver ahead can't accommodate for you. He doesn't have enough time to know what's happening, so you end up driving into him. You also need to think about the timing of when you plan your attack. So personally, I think the farther you go down the straightaway, the more riskier things become because speed builds. Braking zones are short, so unless you have overlap next to a car next to you before you start braking, it's very difficult to get it while the car in front is slowing down. People think it's easier, but the car ahead's already slowing down at its ideal rate, and you're trying to throw your car in and then get your car overslowed so that you can beat them to turn. That's hard and very difficult to adjust. Also, your opponent ahead can't adjust their direction once they've committed to the turn. So most crashes you see are because people dive after the car ahead is committed and then they crash.